Please keep in mind, if you would like to listen to these podcasts offline or on the go, then you can download them to listen on SoundCloud. The link is in the description below. Make sure to check it out. You should be able to download and listen whenever you may choose. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Sellik the Thunder podcast. This week, joined by the same people. Kieran and David are here. Hello, nice to see you. How are you doing?
Hello.
That's good. Also joined by another special guest who is now going to be the social media representation person, Jamie. Hello. Nice to see you. He's going to read the Twitter points later on for the questions I asked midweek. Keep in mind, if you do want to get involved in the podcast, follow me on Twitter at RyanStephenF. Every week I put up a tweet asking for your points that you want us to raise and discuss throughout the podcast, and we'll do that towards the end. Also, last week, if you joined on the comeback episode, we have got a new wee mini game. Who am I? So, I'm going to start it off, same sort of scenario as last week, Kieran and David. Last week I started off halfway through the guest, then Kieran gave his, which carried through to the end of the episode. So I'm quickly going to get mine out the way. Are you ready?
Yeah.
That's good. I never got completely.
Well, I'm not going to say no, am I?
Right, so,
Give me 5 minutes.
right, here we go. I played for Celtic between the years of 1985 and
Shit, I wasn't born.
1989. Hold on, just listen. I made 88 appearances and scored 27 goals as a striker. I played for Newcastle United both before and after my time at Celtic, and I also played in Sweden for a brief while. I made 4 appearances for my country, and I also won the European Super Cup with Aberdeen. I'm currently a manager, and I've managed 2 teams in Scotland. The longest I've served a team as manager was with Reading. Who am I? Any early guesses before we progress on?
What years did you say?
1985 and 1989. He played
How many appearances for his country?
4 appearances.
I don't know why I was going to say
one.
No.
It's not Mick McCarthy. It's not Mick McCarthy.
It's just because you said
bad guess,
Reading,
not
but he
bad
wasn't
guess.
even Reading manager.
And what managed Wolves for a while.
I don't know.
We'll come back halfway through. You've got plenty of time to think. David, you're currently on the back burner. You didn't get any correct last week, or even hazard a guess. Last week, may I add.
Ryan, in all fairness, yours turned out to be a Rangers player. Kidding on, but you said James Beattie. See, as soon as you said James Beattie, I was sitting there thinking, I remember him playing for Rangers.
I meant Craig Beattie.
Yeah, I know. Isn't you correct yourself 4 days later in the comments?
Anyway, let's move on to the actual podcast topics itself. We're going to start with what seems to be the hot topic right now. It's the striker situation, but more importantly, the Moussa Dembele situation. The reports have came out during the week that there was a bid rejected for £12 million. Brighton did bid £12 million, but he is staying at Celtic. Also, though, he's been benched the first 2 games back. He's not even came off the bench since the winter break. The question is, what is currently happening, and what is your opinion of what's currently happening? Kieran, start with you. Moussa Dembele, what is your mind around the whole situation with him at the current minute?
I don't know, because he's not getting played because there is this speculation around him, but I said it last week that I think he will stay, but then during the week I was made to doubt myself because Chris Davies and Brendan Rodgers coming out and says he's not in the right place, he wants a move away and that, but now it seems like they're adamant on keeping him, so I don't know. I feel like he has been mistreated a bit.
If they're adamant and keep them, it's frustrating to me. I know there's this whole, and Chris Davies came out and said that there are a lot of people around the club that are saying it as well, that his head's not in it, but do you not think the guy should be given a game at 10 minutes at least to try and get some form under his belt? I mean, he's sitting there wasting away. I think it's completely unfair. I'm not quite satisfied.
To be honest, I've felt a lot more sympathetic for Griffiths, to be honest with you, this season in terms of that. Out of the last 15 games or something, he's started like 3 times. And I feel like, if you think about it in the long run, Griffiths is going to be here longer than Dembele. I feel like you should be treating him a bit better because you don't want him to get disgruntled because Dembele's off one way or another, whether it be the now or the summer.
6 months away.
Griffiths is somebody that we can't risk losing.
The only thing is, though, with Dembele, do you not feel like people are complaining? He's not this good. Oh, he's overrated. He's not done anything, but he's even getting the chance.
I feel like people are just a bit more disgruntled because they think, oh, he wants a way out anyway. So I mean, like they're just saying that. Honestly, I do prefer Griffiths at the current moment. I know Dembele's going to be 10 times the player Griffiths is one day, but the new he's not really this season, especially last season he hit great heights, but this season injuries hampered them and that. So I don't know. I feel like he will get a chance. I think maybe Hibs or Hearts.
See, I would give Dembele the shots, obviously, because he's miles ahead of everybody else. However, see Edward, he did just score 2 goals. Fair enough, it was against fucking Brecon or however you say it.
He only scored one.
He only scored the
Did
one.
he only score one?
It was the last goal of the game. Took him quite a wee while, did it not?
Oh,
you thought Sham scored. When he scored, you thought it was Edward.
Anyway, he scored, so, and he never had an awful game.
But do you not feel like at the weekend
see,
it was a bit
like the reason?
That's not what I mean. I mean he deserved to start that weekend game because he never had an awful game.
I suppose the cup game, you know, there's this whole, you know, we were talking about maybe triggering that 7 million clause, and if we want to trigger that, we need to know what we're getting, so it needs time. But at the same time, do you not feel like it's really aggravating the fact we've got 2 class strikers there, and it comes to a league game where we need to win, and yet Edouard is.
See, I think the reason Edouard's started is because we need to give him a game time to see if it is worth this £7 million that's what he's needing. Like that's the release clause that we need to pay if we want him.
See, that's what's pissed me off.
No, but Griffiths never started the game because I don't think he was fully fit, and they didn't want to risk starting them. And like, you know, like Griffiths and Dembele, like if you rush them back into it, they're going to be out for another 4 weeks. So that's why they're easing them into the team, and people are getting disgruntled by it.
Does it not piss you off though that, you know, everybody's talking about, oh, Dembele's not consistent enough, even some people, as such as myself, say Griffiths isn't consistent enough, but we don't have that consistent striker.
Aye, we don't play them.
On the park.
So see last year, last season Dembele was so good was because he was playing every single game basically. And see this season, a lot of Rangers fans are saying that Morelos is better because he's top goal scorer and that, but I mean that is because like I'm sure it was only Edward who started 2 games in a row this season. Like Dembele and Griffiths, haven't they?
They've just been fluttering about, changing, chopping and changing. But
see,
I feel like Dembele needs to be gaining opportunity soon because I think
like Dembele thrives on being the star man.
I think so. I think that's a scenario with both strikers.
In December, but like Dembele got his chances in December and.
But you look, he wasn't great in December, granted, he wasn't. But you look at when he came back from injury, he looked hungry, scored against Hibs in the semi-final, he got a goal against PSG as well.
See some people as well, I don't think they understand the way Dembele plays. In every game, he's no like the out-and-out goal scorer that maybe you want your striker to be, but he brings so much players into the game. He's like, see the amount of times people, he brings the wingers in a lot. Like, see the amount of times the ball's just been lumped up, he's brought it down and played.
I think you've got maybe a poignant attacking threat with Griffiths, but I feel like he's not scared to run at them, and he's got the pace to get past them.
I understand,
like, he brings something completely different, and I think if Dembele came on against Partick Thistle, I don't would have had the same effect.
I feel like that's one thing. I agree with Kieran on the sense that I think Griffiths is maybe more of a kind of livening up the game sort of player, but what really aggravates
Griffiths has done nothing.
I know,
but Griffiths brings an energy to the game that you don't get with Dembele. Dembele's a lazy bastard.
This is what annoys me. I hate this whole lazy argument about Moussa Dembele. I feel like there's a really big misconception of how lazy Moussa Dembele is. I wouldn't say he chases to everything, but there is a lot of times where I can see. But I think he's a completely different. I think we've looked at Lee Griffiths too much. I think we've looked at Lee Griffiths too much of what he does, which is endless running and this, that, the next thing. I feel like that's what we've looked at him, and we expect the same thing for Moussa Dembele, when the reality is Moussa Dembele's a bigger guy, a different player, and played in a completely different role. I don't think he's meant to play in the same role as Griffiths. I'm sounding like, I feel like I'm coming into using FM as my example, but you know,
advanced forward,
exactly.
Forward.
All of them, I feel like they play too different, and I feel like the lazy argument, I can understand it. I think people might look at Moussa Dembele and think he is a lazy player, but ultimately, I just don't think they're the same, deployed to do the same thing. I don't think it's anything to do with the work rate of any of the two players. But the valuation that Brighton seem to think is £12 million. I don't know about you, but I'm slightly offended.
I know that's an insult. I mean, fair enough, he's not hit the same heights as last season, but 20 million minimum for him to leave. No chances leaving.
No, this is a point, David. I'm going to come to you, so I'll let you do a wee bit of talking here. On Twitter, a lot of people are saying at this point they'd bite the hand off for. People are getting to the point they're being so sour towards Dembele and saying they'd bite the hand off even for £10 million. Do you think?
Why?
Do you think people? Do you think there's a reason people are being so sour recently? Is Griffiths proved anything that he could do that Dembele can't? I feel like there's a kind of sour.
See, I don't really see where this whole thing is like. What? See, if you like Dembele, you don't need to hate Griffiths, and see if you like Griffiths, you don't need to hate
Tell
Dembele.
that to Ryan.
I know, but don't get me wrong. Like, you never have an opinion, and I do think Dembele is better. But see, some people see the minute they're either Team Dembele or Griffiths, they absolutely hate the other person.
I don't hate Griffiths. I like Griffiths.
Do?
I don't
You're
hate
so
Griffiths.
biased that it's unreal.
I'm biased, yes, but I do like Lee Griffiths. I do.
I like Moussa Dembele. I don't want to sell him. I'd like to see him get a chance, but I prefer Griffiths. I just want to see the team do well. You're just a selfish bastard. You're so blindsided by fucking Moussa Dembele that you can't see you've got an equally good striker than Griffiths than him.
I don't think there's an equally that should be mentioned. I don't think there's any equally about it. I think domestically, yes, maybe Moussa has been lacking. But ultimately, I think Moussa Dembele at his best is just worlds apart from Lee Griffiths. And I don't think there's an argument surrounding it. I just don't think there is, personally. If you put both of them at their best against any team we play, whether that be PSG or Partick Thistle, Dembele is going to be the best player. Hands down. But the £12 million...
Dembele doesn't play his best that often.
And do you not think that comes down to a lot of the fitness issues?
Nobody's had a fucking chance. See the reason that see the reason that we've not had a consistent striker this year is because last year our third fucking option for a striker, who was it?
Who was it last year? Nobody was it?
No, Jack Aitchison, the youth team.
They played
no, like even then, obviously, I'm talking about actual strikers. We never played that Jack Aitchison because it is young and that. But I mean, like we played a false nine when that happened. Like, and we actually played well with a false nine for some reason. Pumped Hearts 5-0 away at home. But the point I'm making is the reason that we've not had a consistent striker this year is because we've got an option for the third striker that everybody's unsure about, because he's supposedly he's for PSG, and to have him as a third striker, everybody thinks, oh, he's surely going to be good. So that's why he's been getting more fucking starts than most people would have thought he would have, but that's because they want to see if he's able to step up. And personally, I don't think he's not shown anything this season to, I don't know, warrant £7 million. No, but that's the thing. Celtic aren't going to break their transfer record on somebody that's been playing subpar. For Celtic to break their transfer record, it's got to take something special, and he's certainly not shown anything close to that.
I know, you expect, so you look at the likes of Patrick Roberts, who we're talking about trying to sign. That's the kind of player who you're like,
you need to have that sort of season.
That's who you want to break
Celtic,
the record on.
That would be the ultimate surprise. If Celtic, after all the years of spending fuck all, somehow go and spend £7 million on fucking Edward.
So
that would be the biggest disappointment.
The question is, Moussa Dembele? Do you think Moussa Dembele caught himself up in his own hype?
Aye.
Yeah.
Or that demolition.
Aye, that time. But I mean, he only done that.
I feel like he's collected himself a lot more. I feel like he's brought himself back down to earth.
I feel like he's very harshly judged.
I know. I feel like he might. I don't know how up to date.
I feel like
the
it's
social media world
perception
he is.
that he's been perceived by everybody as being wanting to Celtic, thinking he's bigger than the club. I don't honestly think he thinks that way.
Do not buy these.
Probably down to
I do not buy.
See the way people would argue. See the way people could argue that he's a bit overrated. I also think he's very harshly criticised. He's
criticised because people he's criticised so harshly because people like you hold him in such a high esteem.
I think he should be held in high esteem, to be fair.
I think he should be held in a relatively high esteem, but you just make him out to be a fucking god amongst men.
I mean, at the end of the day, I think this is a guy who's 20 years old, has stepped into the highest level he can possibly can for Celtic, and he has shown that he can be miles ahead of every single player in the team. He stepped up the Champions League a couple of occasions.
Time and time.
against Manchester City. I feel maybe he didn't score he scored a penalty in Gladbach, but I mean the performance was still great.
Missed a penalty against Barcelona.
He did miss a penalty, but at the end of the day, that game against Barcelona, he seemed like the only player in the park who was attacking wise going to be able to do it. And against Bayern Munich, I felt like he came on the park and he instantly made some sort of difference. I feel like he's a player who is definitely should be regarded in that high esteem. I just feel like he should be, and I feel like that might be the spawn of where the criticism comes from because of that. But at the end of the day, I feel like his head is there, ready to be put back in the game. I don't see this.
If he stays, which I think he hopefully will, he will get his chances and hopefully he can prove himself, because it can go one or two ways. If we keep him and he remains to be no performing, his value is only going to go down.
What I ask of the Celtic supporters, be patient. That's what I want. I feel like people are rushing.
Would you grant the same sort of patience to Lee Griffiths, though?
I would.
I don't think you would.
I think I would. Personally, I honestly, I would. I genuinely would. I think people are expecting Moussa Dembele to come back. Say he comes back this Sunday. If he doesn't have a goal by half time, you know what's going to happen. You're going to go into Twitter. You're going to see get Griffiths on constantly because he's not scored a goal in 45 minutes. I think we've got to be patient, give the guy a chance, and let him try and collect his form back. Instead of try to rush him at the game, switch up strikers, and ultimately none of them benefit. I feel like.
Well, the way you are making it, he should be able to score 10 goals in the first half.
I think that's an exaggeration.
God amongst men.
Right, well, we'll move on. Because we're 16 minutes through.
Here's another interesting thought as well. See, last time when we played Hibs at Celtic Park, we drew 2 each.
Yep.
We played 2 strikers that day, Edward and Dembele. Do you think we could possibly see Griffiths and Dembele tomorrow?
I don't think so. I think that's a foregone conclusion.
I know, everybody's always shouting for it. We don't play 2 strikers, but we changed our formation for that game back in September.
Here's a question I quickly want to raise just before we move on, actually, because it's something that's... Do you think Dembele and Griffiths have a rivalry between each other? Like, do you think they... because you see Griffiths, he celebrated that day against whoever... What was it he scored against? He went up there, I'm the man, not the rest of it. And it just seems like... I don't know, but when Griffiths is on and Dembele isn't, Dembele looks a wee bit depressed on the bench, and vice versa.
It's healthy competition.
I think.
And you need that between your star strikers, but it's because they're fighting for one spot. See, if they two are playing beside each other, we could have developed a relationship, like a fucking relationship that they could work together. But I don't think it's happened because they've not had the chance to really play with each other, and I feel like it is maybe a rivalry, but I'd say healthy competition. I think rivalry's a bit carries harsher connotations than...
I mean, if everything could go perfectly and we lived in a world of sheer bliss, we would be having the second coming of Sturridge and Suarez. I remember saying that back at the start of the 16-17 season, but I mean, it just never worked out, never did. Right, we'll quickly move on. Transfers. Transfer window, still no progress from last week. We've not made any signings. It seems like there's not really been any heavily...
Where's Jamie?
Transfer rumours with me. Why Jamie's been called into the mix? Why is Jamie being called into the mix?
No, I was wondering where he is. He was just heavy, quiet.
Oh, were you getting worried?
Lost at sea. We've made no progress. There has been no rumours that seem to have any truth to it either. There was talks of Neven Subotic maybe coming in.
Bastard.
Went to St Etienne, he has joined, good luck to him there. Very good player.
They let him go on a free.
Yep, would have been a perfect...
Dirty bastard.
Would have been a perfect signing for Celtic. Perfect. And ideally that's the kind of players who I think we should go for. We said it last week, I think there's that balance where some fans want youth, some fans want experience. We can't please everybody, but ultimately I don't know if you would agree, I think he would have been the perfect sort of sign. That's what we should look for in a defender. I don't know.
In the past few years as well, it's been reported that Celtic have had maybe not accepted, but they've put a bid in for Jack Hendry.
I don't think it was accepted.
Neil McCann came out and says they turned it down. So there we go, we're at both ends of the spectrum. David, what do you think's the better option? Like, obviously, you're going to say Subotic over Hendry, right?
No, Subotic is too old. We need quality at the age of 24, so he can be with us forever.
I say we take him at the equation completely now and just put in the other realistic signing at what's his name, Tosic for Besiktas. So, because Subotic is completely out the picture now.
You look at, and this is something I'm going to ask in the comments below. Listening, what would you prefer? Like, this is the same thing. You used to answer. Do you think we benefit greater from a 32-year-old or from a 19-year-old for Dundee?
32. See, if we're talking about a young player, Christopher Ayer's one of the top players we would get. like at quality wise, because I think Christopher Ajer's brilliant.
I think Christopher is a great player.
Why would, see if you're going up against Barcelona, PSG and that, why would we want Christopher Ajer and another 19-year-old? Wait.
I don't think that's how it would work.
No, I know, but I mean, like, you would like, if it was going to be Christopher Ajer starting, or even Simunovic, you would want him next to like a more leadership figure.
No, but that's the thing. If we want to bring in another centre back, do you think it would start with Marvin Comper and say we got that Tosic would, and Marvin Comper would start over Simunovic? Or do you think why they would be partnered with Simunovic?
I think Simunovic is good.
Do we go with a balance of experience and youth, or do we just go point out experience?
Well, I mean, I don't think having too many defenders will be a bad thing, because we could always rotate, especially League, Champions League. But I mean, I don't think players will be very happy.
See, this is the sort of scenario. This is the sort of scenario I think really tests Celtic fan, because I think at the start of at this point last year, my opinion was we had too many centre halves at the club.
I thought that at the start of the season.
I was saying myself.
If you go back in the podcast, I was saying it.
Yep, I think. Look, we've got Ajer, we've got Sviatchenko, we've got Simunovic, we've got Boyata. We have all these centre halves. Ultimately, people are going to be neglected and they're not going to get a game, and then suddenly the world came.
This was when we cared.
Yep.
This was when we cared, and before Boyata was seen as an absolute fucking useless bastard.
Now we're looking at the world where it's very easily for the same thing to repeat itself, and fitness has become a problem at Celtic quite ultimately. So does it hurt to have too many centre backs now? That's the question.
No. Do you think we will sign another one realistically?
We've surely got to. We've surely got to sign another centre back.
But do you think it'll be somebody like Jack Hendry or
That's the question. That's because now, will Brendan Rodgers go in and sign two centre halves? I don't think so. I think he'll sign one. And if it looks as though he's gone for Hendry, then to me that's a signal we're ruling out an experienced defender altogether, which kind of annoys me. Because I don't think he's going to sign another two. What would be the point in that? I mean, then we're at the point where maybe we've got too many. Do we loan Hendry out maybe back to Dundee for 6 months?
But then why sign on it like two centre backs if you've just put Simunovic at?
I think Simunovic needs to come back into the team. It's a big need, I think.
They must obviously not think that the centre back crisis is as big as what the fans are making it as if they're going to send one of Celtic's best centre backs away out on loan.
I ultimately think that Brendan's loyalty to Boyata is needing to come to an end. We need a centre back, and that's basically it. This window needs a centre back. That's the story of the window for me, and it's just not happening. Like, we got Comper, fair enough. But Europa League, how can we justify playing that against them? You might think differently. You might think I'm being overly hard.
See, to be honest, I don't think Boyata is as bad as what everybody makes out. I don't think he's at quality. I don't know, because see, against Anderlecht, I thought it was good.
No, he's absolutely done. I
hope he plays well against Zenit, to be honest.
He just frustrates me. I know fine well. I mean, I don't wish bad on the guy. I like him. I don't want to be overly harsh to a Celtic player at the end of the day. I don't want to feel like I'm patting my players at the team I support, but it's the end of the road. He's just been too poor against such little opposition, and the signs are there. Even if he doesn't make a direct mistake, you got the likes of Effie Ambrose who went out and genuinely cost us games. Boyata, I just feel like hasn't done that to the same extent, but the signs are there that it's just maybe that even the players surrounding him don't have that confidence that they need. And I think it is time to just get somebody in. I think it's well past time. Kieran did suggest before we started the podcast that we talked about ideal signings. Now, I've said it time and time again on this channel, I think it is very hard to pinpoint ideal for Celtic. I don't think there is ideal.
See, no, ideal's more what you think would be perfect for Celtic. Realistic's different for ideal.
Now, I'm going to throw out a player called Frans Brorsson from Malmo in Sweden. I think he could be a decent addition, centre half.
Is this fair?
Yes. I think. No, honestly, I looked up his starts on.
He went to Atlanta United.
I looked up Frans Brorsson's stats on Transfer Market, and honestly, would not be a bad fit. He made 25 appearances last season. He helped them in the Champions League qualifiers. A player who maybe could develop, and the Scandinavians never seem to be too bad. Johan Mjällby, Christopher Ajer. Why not? Eric Sviatchenko, throw this guy, maybe a transfer bid, we might, never know. That's an ideal sign of eyes.
See, talking about the centre-back situation, see if Celtic do sign Jack Hendry, it's what people were asking for, not centre-back, but people won't be happy.
Oh, aye. When they
they're never happy.
That's the thing with Jack Hendry. I don't know if personally even I'm going to be happy, which sounds really hypocritical.
I feel like it's more a signing for the future, but I mean, like, a lot nearer than what fucking holding them in.
I do feel like
it's not about development squad and that.
I do feel like I'm coming off as hypocritical because I'm like, oh, hurry up and just be happy with who we signed. But generally, I feel like this one came out the blue. Just personally, I don't know.
What, Jack Hendry?
I just don't really feel like
it's been fucking.
I know, but when it was first spoke about, I mean, it just came out the blue. Really, I was like, Jack Hendry, like, he's a player who, you see players like John McGinn who have been talked about.
See, John McGinn. Every Celtic fan seems to have this perception that he'd be the fucking.
No, I feel like that is
automatic fixed problems. I think he's a decent player, but he's got so much wrong with his game.
What you said. Secondly, I think is right. There still is a lot of things he has to work in his game, but I think the first part, I think you're way off because the past week in Twitter since I Edinburgh Derby, it seems like a lot of Celtic fans have completely turned the opposite direction of what they thought of John McGinn.
Because I personally thought it would be. See if he did sign for Celtic, I'd be happy with it. But I feel like a lot of Celtic fans have delusions about how fucking good he is.
I think he's a player who it depends on development. And that's why I want to sign him, because I just feel like he's an exciting player to develop. I think
how old is he?
22, 23. I feel like there's a lot of things already there in his game that if it built on, we could be looking at a real Jamie player, because physically he's great. I think he's got a great pass. I mean, he can see a good pass for quite a while.
Plus, if there was anybody to develop him, it'd be Brendan Rodgers. He'd be the person. He's so good at developing players.
That's ultimately the factor that I think really brings what would make him an ideal sign.
That's the thing, but I don't think we will sign him, because where does he fit into the team?
Right now at this current minute, I think I agree, but I do think ultimately it's going to come to us. I just see it happening. It seems like why they transfers.
See, Brendan Rodgers has identified he wants a creative player, so another number 10, because you've got Tom Rogic plagued with injuries all the time. I think he's brilliant, probably one of, if not the best Celtic player in my opinion, but I just think he offers so much, and when he's out, Celtic suffer massively. I love when Tom Rogic's playing. I prefer him over McGregor. McGregor, start of the season, was on fire, but I don't know, I feel like his form's majorly dipped.
I feel like there's been no really any standout player recently. Just don't think anybody's been that guy.
I think Sinclair's due to come into some good form. He started alright in the first 2 games.
I don't think so. I don't think Sinclair was as good as last season, but I mean, I still think he's also very harshly.
He's having a decent season. People don't understand that. Like, he got us to the Champions League.
I know. I say that last year as well. See, Sinclair, he's the most frustrating player because he's heads and shoulders above everybody else in the league. See if you put him up against any defender in the league.
Apart from Mr. Dembele.
Did you say you said this last year?
I said it last year. Brian always moaned at us for it.
I always moaned at you. Fair enough. I think there's a lot of times where, once again, this impatience sets in and you're worried people.
See, I've always said I'd never take him off because he's always he could always make something for it. And see, even in his worst games, he can always score a goal.
In some big games, he would just miss chances that were absolute sitters. Like in the
Old
Scottish Cup final as well. Like, mind the ball came across, Griffiths crossed it in, all he had to do was just tap it in back post when he got caught under his boot.
I know this is pure nitty-picky, right? But I mean, see, even in the 5-1 Old Firm at Ibrox, see the amount of I think it was that one anyway, see the amount of chances he missed.
Starting to sound like Paul.
We won
5-1, but it was a fucking disgrace.
The question is, David, before we wrap up the transfer talk, transfer window, ideal signings, do you think, no specifically name, but do you think that are you still living in the, I don't know if you ever were, do you think if there's no business done the next 5 days, we spoke of this last week, but have you changed your mind the past week, do you think there is a crisis if there is no one signed in the next 5 days?
See, I think it's a very weird place, because see, if we don't sign anybody, I don't think it's end of the world, but I think if we do sign, it's only positive, because we should add quality, we have an opportunity to add quality to the team. However, if we don't, then I think it'll be a bit of a disappointment, but it won't be the end of the world. I think the Celtic team's good enough, especially to win domestically. And see, on its day, I think it could. On its day, I think it could do well. Like European, like Europa League. Like I don't know. I've not really watched Zenit much this season, right? But I mean,
Zenit are a team who are.
Aye, I know.
I'm just going to give you some stats. Just going to get some.
Aye, give the stats.
In the Europa League, they were the best performance side in the entire group stage of the Europa League, and they scored the most goals in the Europa League group stage. Now, I don't know about you, I genuinely feel like there's a mini crisis at the back if we don't sign anybody, because they have got dangerous players. We need a centre half. I don't think it's an ultimate there's this cry of we show no ambition, it's the end of the world cry. It's not of that. We just need security.
It's weird because like it just depends on how they play. Because see if Sellik, especially defence, have a good game against Zenit. Like say again, like if you look at it, we only conceded 2 against Bayern Munich. Like fair, but then we conceded fucking 6. Oh, but what was it, 7 against PSG?
PSG and 5 at home.
Technically, I mean, see in the group stages of the Champions League, we probably were one of the teams like that conceded the most goals. So David,
we got interrupted.
Can't remember what I said.
Anyway, right, Kieran, transfer window 5 days. Do you think it's a disappointing window? The same kind of thing as we asked last week. Ultimately, thoughts.
I mean. He's looking for quality, not quantity. I feel like people forget that. And people say we're showing no ambition. Like, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. They could be working around the clock to pull in, like, signings. Like, you just don't hear about it.
Aye.
Like, people only believe what they see in the papers, like, online and that. Like, you don't... Like, Celtic could be working on stuff for now, but they're just going to criticise them until they fucking hear it in the Daily Record. I mean, like, what do you actually want? Who are Celtic going to realistically sign?
Well, by this point next week...
My ideal signings, it's not going to happen, would be Charlie Musonda for Chelsea on loan, because I think he is fucking amazing. No chance he's getting him, but because he'll probably go to a Premier League side on loan. Chelsea have said they want to put him on loan, but there's been talky... Like, I honestly would prefer that Tosic or Jack Hendry. If any of them want to come, I'd be happy with them, but because if you support who plays for Celtic, you don't fucking moan. Unlike David.
I must admit, Kieran, David, Kieran, you really do love dropping an F-bomb, you really do. You love it.
Sorry.
It's fine, don't worry.
I'm sorry for all your check feels.
This is an R-rated podcast. But, I mean, realistically, they are signings who we might not be able to get, but if did, I'd be very happy. Very, very happy. Transfer window, we'll see by the time we film our next episode. We will we'll know what we have. We'll be able to review it in full.
We'll have a deadline day special live, right? Where he's yelling at Tyler Jim White.
Aye. Hi, I'm Jim White, and welcome to Transfer Deadline Day. Right, we're halfway through. My Who Am I was sadly spoiled by David.
No, it wasn't.
It was.
So I'm going to read out the clues for the viewers once more.
Don't say who it was.
Viewers, 1985 to 1989, he played for Celtic. Made 88 appearances and scored 27 goals as a striker. He played for Newcastle before and after his time at Celtic. He played in Sweden as well. 4 appearances for his country. I'll give a clue. His country was indeed Scotland. He won the European Super Cup with Aberdeen. He's currently a manager, managing 2 teams in Scotland.
Here's another wee clue. It's a clue. He was one of the goal scorers in the European Super Cup. Aberdeen won.
I'll let you guess in the comments, and I guess I'll tell you the answer by the end of the episode or something. I don't know. See if you could get it though. I'll tell you next week.
Jeez, oh man! Well, don't say we can ask when this concept.
Last week I told them it was James Beattie, didn't I?
It was not James Beattie. It was Craig Beattie.
Craig Beattie. I told them last week it was Craig Beattie when none of you did it.
Aye.
So I don't know what to tell them this week.
We've had it spoiled for us. You're spoiling it for them now.
Alright, okay, right. You'll find out next week who it was.
Right. You just put in a comment section. Oh my god, man.
Right.
Put it at the end.
Shut up!
Right, Kieran. On you go with your Who Am I?
Right. Who am I? I've played in Scotland, England and India. I'm aged 35.
Right.
I scored 6 goals in 56 appearances for Celtic. And I've got 10 caps for my country. Who am I?
Is that it? Not getting any clues what trophies he's won
no,
in India?
I'll tell you the years he was there at Celtic. 2004 to 2007.
Evander Snow.
What even
is that
was
Evander Snow?
David, you're not going to get it anyway, you fucking idiot.
Is that Evander Snow? No, he played in Holland and all that, didn't he?
He signed in 2005 as well, so...
No. It's not Evander Snow. I can't think of many people. Right, I'll come at the end of the episode. But it's a good one. It's a tricky one. I can't think of many Celtic players who have managed to play in India. So I'll come back to it. So moving on, a lot of criticism of the board recently. I guess we could have tied that into the transfer talk. Do we want to spend a lot of time talking about the board here? Any opinions towards this topic?
I mean, I feel like they're coming under a lot of criticism because it happens every transfer window, to be honest with you. But
I feel like a lot of people don't really realise the good their board do. I think there's a lot of criticism towards, yes, transfer-wise, it's not been a great tenure for this board for transfers. But at the end of the day, we have appointed Brendan Rodgers as our manager. We have made good signings, just maybe not as many as we'd like. We are ultimately financially in the best position we've ever been. We are winning trophies. We are building a bloody big hotel and museum and all the rest of it. It's a very positive direction the club has gone in. I feel like we need to calm it down a wee bit. Personally, that's my opinion. I don't know many people who stand firmly on the side of sack the board. Personally,
no,
I don't know.
Well, I mean, apparently 95% of the Celtic sports stand on that side every time there's a transfer window because we've signed somebody for £25 million.
It's brilliant to look at because, and I know there's going to be people listening who are firmly on that side of the board, but it's only within this month and the 2 months in the summer that they say that, and then we're winning a trophy at the end of the season and everything's happy.
Everybody's congratulating Peter Lowell on his fine work.
Some people might not want to accept this, but see football is a business, and see the board, they also need to look at it as a business side and not as a fan. I
hate looking at football as a business, but in the year 2018 it's ultimately what it is.
Why is the board going to make a rash decision to sign a fucking 30 million player to win SPL, which realistically probably is already won? Like, fair enough Europe, but I mean, still, it's just
how far are Celtic realistically going to go in Europe?
See, even if we went out and signed a fucking 40 million defender, how further is he going to get us?
Exactly. It's not
how much?
We need a genuine renovation in the team. My Alexa just spoke to me. What the hell was that about? Alexa, did you hear that?
What's her Twitter fucking video?
Be sexy, Alexa.
You're really exposing your true colours on this podcast. But ultimately, I think that the board criticism is very, very harsh and unneeded. Granted, the money's still being spent, but it comes back to the same thing. Brendan Rodgers is just going to say, oh, aye, spend that there. Brendan Rodgers ultimately has a decision to make as well, and that's if the player is going to actually make a difference to the team.
What means that what he does?
David,
that's what he walked in the kiosk.
You're pushing my buttons. But I think that's, I mean, if any of you have wanted to add anything about the board, I just wanted to really mention that briefly.
No, but I mean, like, people turn on them as soon as things aren't gone the way they want them to be. Like, Celtic's realistic signings, like, they're not going to break it. Like, we could break our transfer record, but I mean, to be honest, in today's market, £6 million not. Maybe it is, but to most other clubs in England, and that's none.
In England, like, £6 million is.
I know. I seen something saying, should Celtic go for £6 million rated? Is it Liam Lindsay that went for Partick Thistle at Barnsley?
Aye.
Like, £6 million for a player that's playing for Partick Thistle last year. That would have been scoffed at last year.
Aye. It's a world we live in where transfers are ultimately hard, and the board are going to have a hard time. And the fans certainly don't help when they're getting the board out part. Realistically, what other board is going to come in and do any better? It's not like a Saudi Arabian prince is going to come in. Who's going to come in? Genuinely, where are we looking here?
Sheikh Mansour.
He's certainly not going to be coming into Celtic and spending £500 million. I think they don't realise how good our board currently is. But we'll move on quickly because this is one of the bigger topics, a very big topic of the past few days after his performance on Tuesday night. Mikael Lustig.
Looking back on when we first met.
Thank you, David. Mikael Lustig, is he past it?
Yes.
How frustrated towards Lustig do you feel? Are you more on the side of...
I like the guy, but fuck me. Look, he was playing like Miles Story, who was up against him, and he was running rings on him. Like, we're playing Partick Thistle. Like, you would think he's got it covered in a domestic front. Maybe in Europe he's getting rings run on him. Like, fair enough. But I mean, come on. Like, it's actually everybody in the league. Like, say if you've put MD on the left wing with a bit of pace, he's going to have Lustig in his back pocket for the full game, because Lustig does not stand up and tackle, because he's not going to be able to, if they get past him, he's got to be able to chase them down.
David, you're
fair enough, he's got a physical presence, but like, he just can't keep up. Like, when people are running up, he backs off until they either get a shot or fucking pass it across goal. It's beyond a joke at this point.
What were you saying, right?
Very from opinion. David, you're a man who once had a topless Lustig as your wallpaper on your phone. You once had a deep dying love for him. It must pain you to see him play so badly recently, and because
I don't think he's...
Here we go. This is it. This is what I like to see.
Season of any better or worse than last season. I think last season.
I think
last season it was very. I think last season he was also not that amazing, but I mean, I just love him, and you can't not like him. He shows some.
I like the guy, but I think he might be able to do a job at centre-half.
Nah, there's the question. This is where I disagree with the two. I don't think he's going to be good at centre-back.
I know, it's like, you don't know how good he is going to play at centre-half, but I'd like to maybe give him a chance.
A chance
to try
is
and
maybe
prove himself.
We're in a league where ultimately we can take that risk, and we're at a position where we can take that risk. You know, we're 11 points clear, and it's not like we're going to concede 6 goals or something like that. You never know. Hearts beats 4-0, but I just don't think he's going to be much co-op at centre-back. I think ultimately with the players that we have at centre-back now, a player like Siminovic and Comper's not had a chance yet, obviously injured, but a player like Siminovic who has unrightfully been thrown away from the first 11 for now, I feel like it'd be criminal if Lustig was to be given a chance and Siminovic not, and even players like Sviatchenko.
Have we stopped talking about?
Never stopped talking about Lustig.
See, the other thing is to see. I mean, I think I think he's a good, see, maybe like behind the scenes, I can't fucking spit it out here. See, behind the scenes in the defence, I think he might be a big part of it as well, because he's the only international who's probably the most experienced.
I think what I would like to see, and I feel like it's only fair that people are saying get him at the team right now this minute. Let him play this 6 months. Let him get to the World Cup.
He's going to be in the team this season.
It would be a dying shame if he was given the chance to work for his place at the World Cup, which his country really probably need him for. There's not a great depth of defenders for Sweden. The next best right back I can think of is Valquist, who is very young and not as experienced. Maybe there's a potential replacement for Lustig, but he's a player who ultimately Sweden need as well and probably need to get time, and the guy deserves his shot at the World Cup. He's 29 going on 30. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity he's going to get. He'll never get that chance again. He's not had that chance in his life. I feel like it'd be a real big shame if we deprived him of the opportunity to go to the World Cup. But,
see, I personally think he is going to stay in Celtic starting 11 right till the end of the season, right back, because who is going to replace him? Rodgers obviously doesn't really place a lot of faith in Gamboa due to the lack of appearances he's had. I mean, he's an international as well. I mean, quite experienced, but I mean, he's just a different player.
He's a far better attack than Lustig and more.
He's got the attacking option on fullback.
One question is, should Ralston and Gamboa be given the chance over Lustig over the next 6 months?
No.
There's a cry for it, but I don't think Ralston's anywhere near ready.
I like Ralston.
For the first
I do like Ralston, I do. But I feel like that game against PSG, no in my mind, but I think the whole thing that happened with Neymar, I think gave Brendan Rodgers a wake-up call saying he's not ready. He's too.
I mean, that's quite harsh, to be honest. I mean, most defenders would fucking crumble under the pressure of Neymar, but I mean, I don't know. Like, even then, he's not really had that many chances in.
See, the thing is,
I don't even think it was much to do with his performance that night. I think it was the fact that he's too young, immature. He doesn't handle himself well. I think Brendan Rodgers really got that impression from him.
See, another thing is I think see Lustig, like, see the way he plays, I think it's different from what people expect for, like, see, like the way Tierney plays, he's always bombing forward, Lustig isn't that kind of player, and see if we did have a right back who was bombing forward as well, we'd maybe caught it a bit more.
Aye. That's the thing though, I feel like Ralston's probably the same sort of player as Lustig, because I don't see him as the sort of...
I see him as a more defensive right back.
I don't see him as like... I see him as well. Aye, like that's what I'm saying. I don't think he's the sort of type like Tierney to bomb forward, but Obviously, we don't know that. You only get to probably see that once he gets more chances.
I would like to give Gamboa a chance because I didn't think he was amazing.
I know. I do feel bad for him. Like
I didn't think he was very good when he did play, but he always played his wee heart out, man. His wee
Costa Rican heart.
Costa Rican heart. He didn't stop running for like fucking 20 minutes.
Any further point? I want to try and get as much out of the Twitter questions as possible this week, so I haven't to like kind of rattle through them. So, if anybody got any final points about Lustig? Seems that he's
I think we should give the man a bit of patience because I mean he's
the only thing is the patience is this is one thing that annoyed me with you about James Forrest. You kept saying right, and granted it has paid off for Forrest this year. He's been our best player. Right. But you were saying give him time at the start of the season when I was ultimately saying I don't want him in the team. I think he's useless. You were saying give him time. The fact is he had time. He was in the team 6 years by that point. It's the same with Lustig. Lustig's been in the team for 2010. I think we've been patient enough. People.
But he's not been. He's not been. Raised an eyebrow about him last season.
I know. That's where
fair enough.
I just feel like the patience argument isn't the right argument to go with it. I feel like that's the only thing. I don't think it's a patience thing. I think it's just calm down.
I think he is. I think we need to start looking at replacements for a right back. However, I think Lustig on his day can still do a job. It just depends. Not even on his day can do a job. I just think overall we can do a job at right back. He just has to. I mean, he must know. It also psychological. I can't say that.
Psychological.
Aye. It must have a wee bit of an effect on him knowing how much the defence is getting like absolutely slaughtered, and also he must not have much faith with fucking Gamboa. No, Boyata playing right behind him.
Behind him? Is he like
beside him, you know what I mean? Like
Mikel Lustig City,
but anyway, that does it for the Lustig. As always, from all those things that we've mentioned, leave your opinions in the comments. We're now going to get Jamie involved. You've been sitting in silence for 48 minutes. Just
48 minutes.
Yep. Just to
we've got 5 questions.
Have a wee discussion.
To educate the viewers, Jamie isn't the biggest of football fans. He's more of a meme guy. But we're gonna get you to read out some questions for us from the Twitterverse of my Twitter.
Are you wanting the apps or whatever?
Aye, you'll read out their wee handles and we'll get firing on some of their questions. So on you go, Jamie.
Jamie, you've got a sexy voice.
Thank you.
You're really made for this. Radio is the career path for you.
This is going to be an essential experience. But the first question is from @FredoF090603, and he says, "Is Celtic's current state as you would have hoped it to be, and is it good enough to take the next step in Europe?" That's a great question, Mr. Fredo Forrester.
You were really cut out for this, honestly. You're really. This is a good decision to bring you in.
He sounds like one of the guys that does like the mad late night poker on Channel 5.
I think the current state at Celtic, and domestically there's no negatives at all. We have won the league. We've won the League Cup. The Scottish Cup, we can only assume that we're going to get as far as we want.
Shut it.
I'm not going to say. I'm not saying we've guaranteed to win it. I'm just saying we can only, assume that we'll get far. I think domestically there's nothing to worry about. European-wise, we've done what we wanted this season. This season has been a success. It was never going to be last season. Last season was a one-off. We need to get over that. The fans need to understand there will not be an invincible season again, probably. If there is, then, fantastic. Right now, I think we're in a fantastic state. Obviously, transfer-wise, still work to be done, but I feel like a lot of people are over-exaggerating. That's just my point. Kieran, you got any?
Right, I'm going to be fully honest here. I wasn't listening to the question because I was too distracted by the way Jamie said.
I'll repeat that because people are obviously confused. Is Celtic's current state as you would have hoped it to be, and is it good enough to take the next step in Europe?
Depends what the next step is in Europe. What is people's realistic ambitions? Last 16, I think it's going to happen.
Last 16, the team hasn't caught it yet.
I think last 16, there's going to need to be a few major improvements in a certain few positions, like genuine quality added to the squad, and like in defence, maybe a new creative player, like just to spice things up a bit. But I don't know. I feel maybe in Europa League next season, no, this season, I don't think like we could maybe try and push for a wee run. I'm not meaning like semi-finals or nothing. I just mean get a few wins and
show confidence.
Hopefully it's more about restoring pride now, because the past 2 seasons, Celtic have taken absolute thumps in Europe. So I think it's. See, people say progression is like progressing to the next thing. Is our level really progressing to the next round, or is it trying to get respectable scores and actually challenging teams? Because I feel like we've no challenged that much.
See, other thing is
the past 2 seasons.
See when people say, see last 16, fair enough. We'll need to like improve the team a wee bit, but that takes a lot of luck as well. Like, it'll come down to luck of the draw, and if we get a win against.
And people say like in the past as well, but like when we've made it to the last 16, it's been lucky. It's been wins at Celtic Park, and Celtic Park is not a fortress anymore. I know. And that has been proven in the past 2 seasons. As in 6 games, we have not won a single one.
I just think, I think some people fucking forget. See, whenever Celtic did make it the last 16, it wasn't as if we went out and fucking pumped every single team on the way there. It was a lucky 2-1 win.
That was annoying about Barcelona. I think people talk about that as if we dominated the game.
I know.
We were so lucky.
9% possession. Xavi made a very costly error, and ultimately we scored it. And he done it.
See, against Bayern Munich this season, like, at home, I thought Sellik played absolutely amazing, man. And like, fair enough, it still wouldn't have got us to the last 16,
but that's the thing. If we did have quality, we might have took the game to Bayern and actually went on to win that. But it was sloppy defending that ended up costing us.
I know.
Jamie, question 2. Fire away.
The next question is from Kai Kelly, who says, Is Celtic the reason Scotland don't have a good national team, signing all the young talents and binning them, basically?
Kieran, I think you had something to say earlier about that one. Do you want to start us off?
I think it's 50-50, to be honest, because some of the players Celtic do sign turn good, but then again, like, you could put the Gary Mackay-Stephen argument forward for like ruining him, but he's went to Aberdeen, still in Scotland, and he's playing well. Like, the way he's playing, he might actually get a call up to the Scotland squad, depending on who the manager is.
I feel like we've been very good with the players that we've brought through ourselves. Tierney, McGregor, Forrest. We've been very good with these sorts of players, but the players that we bring in, Allen, Mackay-Stephen, there's a couple in there that have been good. Also, Armstrong, Griffiths is the country's best striker. There's a few good players in there, but like, I can see where perhaps your guy's coming from, in the sense that we did ruin a few players. Scott Allen was a player who we signed for the absolute banter.
Ryan Christie, there's a question. Do you think he will get a chance?
I don't know why. I hate myself. I think he's been doing really well at Aberdeen, but yet I'm still in the mindset he's no good enough for Celtic, and I don't know what it is. I just can't imagine him becoming that good a player. But
I find it hard to think about that, but I hope he does come back and actually get a chance.
I know he's going to prove me wrong, but I just can't get that out my head. Like, I just feel like he's no good enough. I feel like if I'm sitting there before a big game in the Champions League and the team sheet comes out and it says Ryan Christie starting, the first thing that pops in my head is Jesus Christ. That's the kind of mindset I have about Ryan Christie, and I don't know why. He is a player who's shown quality, but I know
he's done so well at Aberdeen, but then again, like, is it going to be a case of Celtic will give him a chance, or they just got to sell him to Aberdeen?
Ultimately, that's clear. I think he will get a chance. I think he will. Ultimately, our national team is not in a great state. We don't even have a manager. Are Celtic to blame for it fully? I don't think so.
I wouldn't say.
I think the state of Scottish football is just in decline. No, I think it was in decline. I think this is the start of it maybe becoming a bit better again. I feel like there's a lot more goof coming through.
There's a brighter future.
You see the likes of coming through. Yeah, even managers. You see Steve Clark, Owen Coyle come over here.
Coyle was fucking horrendous.
He is, but managing Ross County would never have seen it coming, to be honest.
Nah.
So, like, it is in an upward state, but for such a long time through, the mid-2000s into the early 2010s, it was in such a poor state where I don't feel like Celtic can be solely to blame for our national team's deprivation, if you like.
No, I think you really can't blame Celtic for that. I think it's just due to, I don't know, like, Celtic isn't the only team in Scotland. Like, these players, they don't need to sign for Celtic to become good enough. Like, Celtic or Rangers are one of the big teams. Like, if they're good enough, they should be performing well at their clubs and deserving a call up. But it's just not going to happen because of the snobbery that's been in the fucking managers for Scotland for the past few years. Like the amount
freshness.
of players that, let's say the amount of Scotland players that
Barry
just got
Bannon.
called up, just because they're playing the English Championship. Give me a break.
I know.
Barry Bannon.
You seen the likes
Stephen
of,
Fletcher. Stephen Fletcher.
I play up
Giving a
Stephen
laugh.
Bloody Fletcher. There's, you get the likes of, Callum Patterson, who was playing very well for Hearts at a point, and he was getting turned back for Alan Hutton for so long because he played for Aston Villa. Horrible decisions. I don't feel like Celtic can be to blame. Jamie, question 3.
Okay, the next question comes from Ross Ferns, who asks, new goalkeeper?
New goalkeeper. David, new goalkeeper?
Well, I mean, see if we were going to bring in a quality goalkeeper who was good at everything, then but I mean, who realistically is an amazing goalkeeper that has everything?
The one that's always shouted about is Michel Vorm for Tottenham. Could Celtic afford
good,
him?
but I think people see.
It's class at Swansea.
See Craig Gordon. See him playing as like a sweeper keeper kind of with the ball at his feet. That is a completely different. That is like asking, I don't know, Lee Griffiths to now play.
I wouldn't
left
call
wing.
Craig Gordon a sweeper keeper, to be fair.
No, well, I know, because.
What's your comparison with Lee Griffiths?
Like, it's like they're asking him to play I know it's not a new position, but it's a new role. It's
I get he has played a new role. It's no sweeper keeper.
He's been playing that
he's had to do a lot more
all his life, and he's been. It's like asking a striker to change position, but change his role in the team. It doesn't just come like that.
Overall, I think Craig Gordon's done fairly well to adapt to having such a demand thrown upon him at the age of what age was he when Rodgers came in? 34 or something. Like to be that old and so maybe not near the end of your career, because that goalkeeper, he's probably still got a good few years left in him. Whether that's at Celtic is another question, but to be able to sort of not learn, you obviously know how to pass a ball, but I mean to bring that into your game, and fair enough, there's been a few slip ups, but he's not really been
until it gets to the point where
for me, see the one each Rangers game at Parkhead. See the amount of fans that were moaning at him, even the actual, remember that the save he made again, the Morelos Cedar, I think it was, or it might have been the Tavernier.
Some save anyway.
Overhead kicking. But he pulled out fucking so many good saves that game, and then fans just right on his back. Remember that prick who was sitting there, and he was sitting shouting him for not kicking the ball out fast enough.
I feel like there's this mentality, but about the passing, about the back, people moan about it, even though it's been proven to work the past season because of an invincible season, which we'll never see again. And that's all off the back of playing out for the back. This new system that was brought in, and people still see as soon as you see the ball getting passed back to Gordon, there's this gasp in the stadium, and people are sighing and moaning already before he's even had it at his fucking feet.
Don't get me wrong, he's not the best goalkeeper, but who the fuck are they expecting to sign? We can't get out and get Ederson or something like that. There isn't many keepers that are going to be absolute brilliant.
Until it gets to the point where I feel like Craig Gordon is throwing us points away.
When I feel like he's directly causing goals, passing it to the feet.
It won't
3 feet away.
It wouldn't hurt to maybe invest or start looking at a new keeper, because at the end of the day, Doris de Vries is aging and Craig Gordon's aging. We might need something, but I just don't feel like there's this desperate need that people make it out to be.
Because the good outweighs the bad. The saves he's pulled off saved us for getting beat last season. Saved us for getting beaten a few occasions this season.
Saved us for getting humiliated in Europe a few times. We have been humiliated.
I think that's more down to the defence in front of him.
Right, anyway.
Some of the shots were
we better get moving. We're on an hour mark. We've still got 2 questions and predictions to get through. So.
And you talked about this, well, you did talk about Charlie Musonda a wee bit earlier that I realised, but Jamie Breen asked what's happening with Charlie Musonda.
Nice to see you, Jamie. And by the looks of things, fuck all.
There's not really been any, it's all been paper talk. There's been no concrete sort of evidence for to believe that Celtic are going to sign him.
Ultimately, in my eyes, it's never going to happen.
I don't think it will happen.
But I mean, if it did happen, I would not deny how happy I'd be.
I know.
It'd be a pipe dream. So not much really adding that. We spoke about Musonda. Whether it will happen or no, we need to wait until there's solid, concrete kind of it's happening. But I can only assume nothing will come.
I know. I don't think it will.
Would you take Musonda on loan now? Roberts?
No, I wouldn't.
Probably.
Conflicting. I think Patrick Roberts is.
Well, I mean, it's not really an either-or situation, is it?
No, that's what I'm saying. I would obviously, because that was just a very, very short question. Because
would you take David Roberts or Missonder?
Well, I mean, I'd probably Missunder's a better player, but I mean, we've got a big connection to Roberts, so I'd keep him here.
But would you say Missunder's a better player though?
Well, I mean, I've not really seen him much, but I mean,
Missunder is class.
He's very, very good. But then I don't know. I like Roberts.
Right.
There's not really any basis for saying who's better than it, to be honest.
Yeah.
One more Twitter question, then Jamie, the final one. Hits with.
Last question comes from Kieran Downey, who says, "Are Celtic now a selling club?" You may cut that out.
David. This is a sort of David. This is a sort of scenario where you show your true colours. It's a horrible being. Like, can you repeat the question, Jamie?
David, man.
Repeat the question. David, you're still not grown up. You're 17 and you're still not grown up. Oh, David, Jesus Christ. Right, once again, Jamie, hit us with the question.
I can't.
Gotta mute him.
Because I can't even.
Mute your mic, David. Mute your mic.
Sorry. Oh, no, I'm gonna mute him.
Jamie, fire away. There you go, he's gone. Jesus Christ.
Right. The next question the last question comes from Kieran Downey, who asks, "Are Celtic now a selling club?"
I think Celtic have been a selling club for years.
I know that's because we spoke about that in one of the first podcasts. Is it time to not be a selling club? Like, when is it?
I feel like a few years ago, if a player at Dembele's calibre got offered 12.5 million from, would that jump to it?
This shows something. That is a sign of progression, I would say.
I know, it shows resilience.
But at the same time, I just feel like that's just ultimately came down to how climate has become in football and money. I feel like if it was the equivalent to, would have been gone.
20 odd million comes in, he's off.
Aye.
See, I think this just goes back to the point that see, as much as people don't like to admit it, once again, football is a business, and see if the board have an option to really further secure
that money
ensures, situation, and they're going to take it.
See, I've not really got a problem with selling our best players. It's part of being Celtic now. Like, it's now ingrained into it that when we get a player that's of that sort of calibre, he's going to move to the Premier League for X amount of money. But I think it's now the time that when we get that sort of money for Dembele, it needs to be invested in the team. Maybe not all it, but a very big portion.
I think that's just a hang. I think that's just football in general, because it's not just a Celtic thing to be a selling club. Look at like Southampton. Look at see whenever a big team comes.
Look at Liverpool. The amount of Suarez, Coutinho.
See when it's like big teams such as maybe not Man United, but see like Liverpool and that. See the minute like Barcelona, Real come in for a player, they're gone. There's only
5 clubs in the world that can not be a selling club, and that's Man United, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, and maybe a push Man City nowadays. Juventus, maybe. Even at that, though. Juventus,
No, Juventus.
A lot of their players, Dybala's probably gone.
There's a food chain in football, and Celtic are not at the bottom by any means, but we're certainly nowhere near the top.
If it comes to overall football, obviously you get the likes of Chesterfield and Coventry City, who are at the very, very bottom. But I mean,
when it comes
to a reputation of big teams only, Celtic are at the bottom of that food chain.
See if you look at Van Dijk. We sold him, but it's not as if see Southampton. It was just the same situation with them with Liverpool than what it was with Southampton.
I don't know what
if a big team from Scotland, you have to sell, because see, as much as you want to think about the club, the player is also a big part. Like, see if you're a manager as well, especially like Brendan Rodgers, he's as everybody says, he's like a kind of player's manager. See if it would be very selfish if a big team like, I don't know, Liverpool came in for Tierney, and see if they were giving us good money. It'd be very selfish not to accept it.
I think Tierney's like that, but I feel like
not Tierney, but like Dembele, you know what I mean?
Dembele. I feel players see Celtic as a stepping stone. But that's the thing, even if Dembele moves down to the Premier League and goes to something like Crystal Palace, he's got to see them as a stepping stone as well. But it's got to be the exact same situation all again.
There's exceptions like Tierney, but I mean, see the majority of players, especially young players who are very highly regarded talent, they're going to use every team they go to as a stepping stone until they get
to the top.
That's reality of football.
I know, it's like Aubameyang, like if he moves to Arsenal, he's seen that as his last chance to get a move to Real Madrid. And Real Madrid have got like a strict no signing over 30 policy as well, so
very little time. That about does it. Predictions now. We'll briefly move on to last week. Did anybody get any predictions right? You said 5-0.
David got the.
You said 5-0. I said 4-0.
I said 3.
And then the Partick, I said 2-0.
I said 2-0 as well.
Said 2-0. So nobody got any last week. So I'm going to stop. I'll put a wee count on the screen. I see who gets them right.
David won.
So David is 1-0 up. Jamie, do you know what? You may as well. Since you're here now, part of the
Super Sixes.
You may as well. So the first game we've got this weekend tomorrow. In fact, 3 o'clock kick-off, Celtic Park. We take on Hibs for the 4th time domestically this season. We have drawn with them twice and we beat them in the cup semi-final. 2-2 draws. They were very, very, very close to being the ones to end the unbeaten run, but didn't. Fell short. Will the game be of such difficulty? I don't know. Hibs did win the last game. We won our last game, but I do think we'll win. I'm not going to say comfortably. I think it'll be a 2-1 hard-fought victory, perhaps.
I think the exact same. 2-1.
See, I think it'll be a very tough game, but I'm going to say 3-0 because I think we'll score about the 30th and then I think we'll score.
I think we will come out on tap this time. I feel like, I don't know, I feel Hibs, I would say Hibs' confidence might be knocked for getting beat off Hearts, but
also how Sellik has something to prove at the moment. Like, I feel like, I'll just say I'm up 6-0 to Partick this on the 30th minute.
We don't care. We just don't care, you know. So 2-1, 2-1 and 3-0. Jamie, Celtic Hibs.
For no, just to be difficult, I'm going to say Hibs. I'll say Celtic 3-1.
Oh, right, I thought you were going to say Hibs have beaten.
I was going to say that to be difficult, but I want to win like Super Six.
The second game we've got is Tuesday night against Hearts, the team that did end the unbeaten run. It seems like Brendan Rodgers will be clicking on Let's Get Revenge after what they done to us last time, or the FM Team Talk.
FM Team Talk.
We're doing that. 4-0 at Tynecastle, an absolute embarrassment, but Hearts are undeniably on fantastic form. They've not conceded a goal in 9 games now. They are doing terrific. We can only presume that they might go 10 games without conceding against us, depends on how it goes this weekend for them, but they are very tough to break down and we know what happened last time.
5-0 Sellik.
If we put 5 by Hearts, I would be very, very surprised. I'm going to go with 1-0.
I'm going for it, 5-0. I want it.
You're going 5-0?
I'm going to say 2-0 Celtic.
Fair enough, Jamie.
See, this is a...
3-0 Celtic.
3-0.
This comes back to a great story and Reece beat me 6-0 at FIFA and I went on to beat him 9-0. 9-0.
Was that the time you were green?
Right, anyway, that about does it for this week's episode of the podcast. If you've liked it, obviously...
Hold on.
Oh, who am I? Aye, who am I? That's it.
You actually done this last week, I know.
I know.
Right.
Who am I? Read the
last set of clues.
Right,
the same set of clues. Who am I? I played in Scotland, England and India. I'm aged 35. I scored 6 goals and 56 appearances for Celtic between the years of 2004 to 2007. I've got 10 caps for my country.
What country?
Do you need more?
What country?
Scotland.
That doesn't help at all.
I know.
2004, 2007 Scottish international. Played in India. I mean, if you've got another clue and you want to get it, feel free, but I don't know if you want to.
Alright, I'll do another one. People in the comments might have got this before now. I'm not sure if he's retired, but he did get released by this club at the end of the season there, so he's without a club, but I don't know if it's like Chris Commons sort of deal. So he started and finished his career at the same club it's not Celtic, obviously.
Right.
I think he's a hint of what club?
Another Scottish club.
Stephen McManus. No, okay, it was Stephen McManus.
Willowfoot.
Yeah, that's a shout. Is it Willowfoot?
Nope.
Oh, he still plays.
He's still playing for
so does. Aye, so does. Aye.
He also started his career at Man City. Willow Flood. No, this big guy. It's a wee side note. Don't think that's a clue. Are we going to reveal it? Or what?
You may as well reveal it.
Put it in the group chat.
Reveal it. Just reveal it. On you go. Who is it? This week.
Right. Stephen Pearson.
Oh, I never go at it. Did I reveal mine earlier?
No.
Mine's
you're going to reveal.
Mine was Mark McGee.
He's big, he's round, he's worth £1 million, Mark McGee.
I got that, but Ryan didn't want me. Show off.
David went and googled it.
Right, so that does it for this week's episode. As I was about to say, my Alexa's turned on again. Shut up, you cow. Shut up. Like and subscribe. SoundCloud, check it out.
I don't know that.
Did you actually put
Right. See you all next time.
Yeah.